Welcome to today's Explainer. Right now, we're unpacking a story that is literally going to challenge everything you think you know about human morality, the sneaky nature of temptation, and the immense weight of simply keeping a promise. We're looking at a classic tale that's just deeply rooted in human psychology, and it breaks down the exact anatomy of a massive, devastating betrayal. It's a story known simply as The Power of Trust. And look, this isn't just some old fable. It's practically a mirror reflecting the darkest corners of human nature. So let's unravel this whole shebang together. Okay, let's just dive right into this with a massive hypothetical. I really want you to genuinely imagine this for a second. Imagine taking your entire life savings, let's say $1,000,000, basically everything you've sweat and bled for, and placing it directly into someone else's hands for safekeeping. You trust them completely, no doubts. Then, a whole decade passes, you finally go back to collect what is rightfully yours, and they just look you dead in the eye and say, "What deposit? I have literally no idea what you're talking about." Just feel that pit in your stomach for a second, the absolute heartbreak and sudden panic of that exact moment. That profound sinking sense of loss is exactly where our source material kicks off today. So let's step back in time a bit to set the stage here. Picture the 1800s. We're in this small, kind of dusty village. A traveler arrives, and he is just fresh off an incredibly long, exhausting journey. He's tired, he's totally worn down by the road, and he ends up striking up a friendship with a local village shopkeeper. Now here's the catch. This traveler is carrying something incredibly heavy. It's a locked wooden chest containing absolutely all of his life's earnings. Because he needs to keep moving and just can't carry this massive burden anymore, he makes a fateful decision. He asks his new friend, the shopkeeper, to hold on to this precious trust. He literally hands over his entire livelihood. Now, what's super interesting here, and pay attention to this, is the specific language the shopkeeper uses. He tells him, "Don't worry, brother, this is my shop, my home." I mean, this isn't just some casual, "Sure, I'll watch your bags" kind of promise. The shopkeeper uses the word brother. He's equating the safety of the traveler's chest with the sanctity of his very own home. This establishes a profound, almost sacred bond of trust between them. The traveler leaves feeling completely secure, totally believing his life's work is protected by this unbreakable armor of brotherhood and hospitality. But, time has a funny way of testing even the strongest armor. Year one, everything's perfectly fine. The chest just sits there safely in the corner, gathering dust. But let's fast forward to year 5. The memory of the traveler is starting to fade, and this quiet, insidious thought takes root in the shopkeeper's mind. Greed begins to grow. It's kind of quiet at first, barely a whisper. Then we hit year 10. The tension completely peaks. It's the dead of night, the shop is closed up tight. And in the dark, the lock on that wooden chest is finally broken. Let's actually stay in that dark room for just a moment. The psychological trap of temptation, it has completely sprung shut. Picture the scene. The room is illuminated by just a single flickering candle. The shopkeeper pries open the lid, and this warm golden light reflects off piles and piles of gold and silver coins. His eyes light up. This right here is the exact moment the poison of greed completely overtakes his morality. It wasn't some sudden crime of passion, right? It was a slow, agonizing surrender to temptation. That shiny gold sitting right in front of him just totally overpowered a promise he made a whole decade ago. Because look, betrayal is rarely just one giant leap. It's more like a staircase. Step 1, he actually did the right thing initially. He kept the box safely. Step 2 is where he made the fatal error. He actually looked inside. He deliberately exposed himself to the temptation of all that gold and silver. Step 3, this is the absolutely crucial cognitive shift. He convinced himself the traveler wouldn't return. He basically changed the narrative in his own head to make the theft seem totally acceptable. And finally, step 4, the act itself. He stole the wealth, completely emptying the chest, and used it to build his very own sprawling business empire. And this brings us to a really crucial point. How does a person actually allow themselves to do this? Well, it all comes down to a core psychological concept, and that is rationalization. This is essentially the psychological process of creating logical excuses for totally unacceptable behavior. The shopkeeper didn't just wake up one morning deciding to be a villain. His brain protected his ego by spinning a story. It told him, hey, it's been 10 years. The guy's probably dead. This money is just sitting here doing absolutely nothing. I can put it to good use. Rationalization is basically the tool the human mind uses to justify breaking our most sacred promises without feeling like a total monster. But all that rationalization, It completely shatters when reality actually walks back through the door. Because guess what? After 10 long years, the traveler actually returns. But he isn't the same man. The years out on the road have taken a massive toll on him. He's old now, he's frail, and his body is incredibly weak. He has to lean heavily on a wooden walking stick just to navigate the familiar dirt path back to the village shop. He is returning not just to get his money back, but literally for his survival. He needs that chest now, more than ever. And this is where we hit the horrific climax of our story. The contrast is it's absolutely stark. We're juxtaposing the warm assurance of the past right against the incredibly harsh reality of the present. Back in year 1, it was, "Don't worry, brother, this is my home." But now, in year 10, the shopkeeper looks at this frail old man and just angrily declares, "What chest? What trust? I don't know you." I mean, wow, it is a brutal, deeply calculated denial. It's straight-up psychological warfare. He isn't just stealing the money, he's actively attempting to erase their entire shared history to protect this empire he built on stolen wealth. The old traveler realizes, literally in a split second, that everything is just gone. And the crazy part, there's no anger, there's no massive shouting match. It's just a profound, crushing disappointment. The true cost of this betrayal goes way beyond just the financial loss. The traveler just turns around, his shoulders completely slumped in defeat, and he silently walks away down that dirt road. His hands, which once held a literal fortune, are now completely empty. And honestly, the sheer silence of his departure speaks volumes more than any argument ever could. So just to summarize the raw, devastating aftermath of all this greed, we have a lifetime of savings just gone in the blink of an eye, a solid 10-year promise thoroughly broken and tossed aside, a flourishing business that looks incredibly successful from the outside but is fundamentally built on a rotten foundation of stolen trust, and of course, most heartbreaking of all, an old man's silent, desolate departure into the unknown without a single penny to his name. This is the factual, real-world reality left in the wake of the shopkeeper's choices. Which leaves us with this really heavy question. In a world driven by wealth, how fragile is the trust we place in others today? This story from the 1800s isn't just some dusty history lesson. It's a massive warning about human nature that completely applies right now, today. We all hand over our own metaphorical chests of gold, don't we? Our secrets, our investments, our vulnerabilities. We give them to people we call brother or friend. But when the lights go out and the temptation of greed slips into the room, how strong are those promises really? It's a lot to think about, but it's something we absolutely need to ask ourselves about the trust we give, and far more importantly, the trust we keep. Thanks so much for joining me for this explainer. Keep questioning, keep learning, and I'll see you next time.